Good afternoon and welcome to my garage where I've got my Webra T4-40 on the stand, and I was just so excited that I got it running that I wanted to shoot a video within my garage. One of the reasons is because it's super windy outside. It could be rainy also. It's very cloudy, but either way I can run it in here. Now the run in here is not going to have tachometer readings. This is basically just a run just to show how it idles, throttles, transitions, and that type of thing. Before I get into the run and the specifics of this, I want to say that those that watched the look inside and then the first run attempt of this engine, it turned out the root cause of the issue was it was a timing issue. The timing belt was way off. Now, this was a new in-box engine, so that means one of two things. Either this engine was mistimed from the Webra factory, which I have a hard time believing, and I still don't want to believe that, or in the course of ownership, however many people had owned this engine even though they never ran it, somebody tinkered with it and pulled the belt off and didn't know what they were doing and put the belt back on way off. That is the latter case is probably the most likely thing to happen, because I really have a hard time believing that this engine would have just been mistimed so poorly out of the factory. So, and that's one of the reasons why I was just, it is not that, it's not that. I mean, it felt fine. You can still feel real good compression even though it's mistimed, because this is a rotary valve engine. It doesn't have poppet valves that are going down into the cylinder like that. If an engine with poppet valves had been so badly mistimed, there would have been slapping, or the piston would have crashed into the valves and destroyed the engine, or at least destroyed some parts. With a rotary valve engine, there's really no way that it's impossible for that to happen. So you can have a very poorly timed engine that just won't start or run at all, and yet suffer no damage to the engine. So when I took this thing into the house or the apartment yesterday and looked at the timing again, I found what looked like, I found the timing mark that was on the gear. But the timing mark is so damn small, I had to have magnifiers on it. It almost just looked like a defect in the metal. And it was kind of half in between two teeth. It just looked like a defect. It wasn't a nice round dimple or anything like that. And I happened to see that and I'm like, well, I'm just gonna go on the, go based on that is the actual timing mark. So I put that at top dead center, put the belt on, and sure enough, the engine fires up and runs beautifully now. So, let's fire this thing up. Now the specifics of this are, I've got 5 to 7% nitro fuel, and I did run an entire tank through the engine yesterday, just to let it start doing the break-in. I've got an OSF glow plug installed. However, I did order 2 Webra number 4 plugs from a place called Hobby Club in Aliso Viejo, California, which should be arriving on Friday. Now, their description of a Webra number 4 plug is a long plug suitable for 4-stroke engines. So I ordered a couple of them. They were only like $6.95 a piece. The prop I'm going to be using today, I wanted another wood prop just because they look so cool on here. This is an 11.5. From the review articles or the reviews on the 1044 engine, I think this is the 1043. The 1044 engine says this thing is basically just like a 2-stroke engine. It'll accept a wide variety of props. It has no problem spinning up really high or operating at very low speeds. So I feel very comfortable in running this Zinger 11.5 prop on here, which I believe is the equivalent of about a 10.6 in load. So let's just fire this engine up, and I'm going to run it through all the transition speeds so that you can see how nicely this thing runs. Alright, let's give it full throttle and prime it. as you can see, this engine runs extremely well now. Now, it still has some break-in to do. That's why it was sounding uneven at high throttle there. But it will smooth out with more break-in runs. And it's very easy on fuel. I mean, it doesn't even hardly look like I went through much fuel on this at all. And I ran an entire tank through it yesterday. So, I mean, it starts very easily. It has some leakage issues. I won't call them issues. It has some leakage points. One of them is because the belt cover here, now obviously the belt goes around the crankshaft, so there's an opening there. So if you take the belt cover off, you can actually see into the crankshaft. So we've got a source of oil that comes from there, obviously, because it's completely open. And even though I tightened this thing up yesterday, the vent nipple on the silencer leaks a little bit. And I'm also noticing right around here, the carb screw interface to the manifold, even though it's really tight, it seems to leak also. So what I may end up doing with that is take this thing off the stand, pull the carb off the manifold, and wrap it with some Teflon tape real quick and put it back on there and see if we can mitigate some of that. But I mean, this engine just runs great. It's a fantastic little engine, and I'm so fortunate that I actually have two of them, and each one is different. So hopefully you all enjoyed actually seeing the process from where this thing wasn't running at all to the short video where it was running, and now to this video where you're actually seeing it do some transition things. And yesterday, and I think today, once I pinched the low speed at idle, and it passes the low speed idle, the pinch test as far as setting the mixture screw. So I think it's set pretty well there. It's just a matter of this engine getting some more fuel and time on it to get properly broke in. But man, what a gem. I just love this engine. Thank you for watching.